What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. You read the title today. I have playoff X factors for every NBA playoff team. To specify, I mean 1 through 8. Sorry, Kings fans. Sorry, Heat fans. But I don't think there's a singular X factor on the face of this earth that could get either one of your favorite teams to the finals. No offense, it's just the truth. So yes, today we are sitting down talking about some playoff potential X factors. Like and subscribe if you're new around here. Comment down below who your team's X factor is if you think I got it wrong, or if I'm right, let me know down in the comments below. Let's get into it right now. We are going to start at 8 and go to 1 in the Eastern Conference for content's sake. Ha ha ha, it's going to force you to watch longer. The 8th seed at the time of recording in the Eastern Conference right now is the Atlanta Hawks, which I believe is going to stick. The Atlanta Hawks probably not going to make a finals run, just here to have some fun, right? And what would be more fun than Zach Risacher balling out in the playoffs? I believe the team record, the Atlanta Hawks team record, is 6-1 when Zach Risacher scores 20 or more points. Risacher's had an impressive rookie season. It kind of put a bow on it, to be completely honest with you, if he were to go out there and ball out in the playoffs, even if they lose in 5 games. But Zach Risacher has one where he puts up 30. You know what I mean? You want to put a nice bow on a great rookie season for a guy who had zero expectations coming into the season. So that's your X factor, Zach Risacher. I don't know. I think it'd be fun to have him put up a good playoff series, so let me know down below. 7th seed at the time of recording is the Orlando Magic, and my X factor for the Orlando Magic is simple. It's three-point shooting. They have the defense to get a stop basically at will. They can clamp up your favorite player whenever they feel like it seems. But the issue is they shoot about 31% as a team from the three-point line. That's putrid. Abominable. Stinky. The issue with being such a great defensive team like the Orlando Magic are is that you're relying a lot on that defense and being able to stop the opposing team. And in the NBA, good offense beats good defense a lot of the time, as much as I hate to say it. The Orlando Magic are 5-11 when the opposing team makes 14 or more three-pointers. It's because they can't make up the difference on the offensive end. They will not make 14 three-pointers very often. You might be asking, why am I harping so much on the three-point shooting specifically? It's because, well, like I said before, they're the 7 seed. If they win their play-in matchup, that would lock them in at the 7th seed, and it would get them a first-round matchup against the Boston Celtics. They spam a lot of threes, and that's what they play for, is the three-point ball. The Magic got to be able to either defend that at an elite level or somehow make up the difference, because the Celtics would shoot them out of the gym a lot of the nights. I like Paolo, I like Franz, I really like what the Magic got going on, but that's just their Achilles heel, is they can't shoot the ball. And if you're going to match up against Boston, you got to find a way to somehow even that out, because you can't get 14-3 on the three-point make category and expect to win that game. It's not going to happen very often. The 6th seed is the Detroit Pistons. They're kind of playing with house money in my eyes. They're one of those house money teams where it's like, well, they're not really playing for anything. You know what I mean? There's no expectations here. My X factor is Tobias Harris, I guess. Jaden Ivey is expected to come back. He got cleared for basketball activities, but it'll be a little bit before he's ready. I'm not sure if he's even going to play in the playoffs. So that would leave Malik Beasley as their second best scoring option behind Cade, and then Tobias Harris right after that. And Toby's been pretty important for the Pistons this season. Like, although he gets clowned, and Tobias Harris is absolutely a hilarious basketball player. He plays solid defense. He can knock down the mid-range. He's only shooting like 33% from 3, which is really disappointing in my opinion. But if he can have a good playoff series, they can get out of the first round. If Tobias Harris is having a 76ers Tobias Harris playoff run, I don't think they make it out of the first round. Cade can try his best all he wants, but if he's got no scoring help outside of, like, every once in a while Malik Beasley, they're going to be done. And I think it all starts with Tobias Harris. Him and Tim Hardaway Jr., I guess, were a toss-up here, because you know what you're going to get out of Cade Cunningham, but Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr. are two guys where the offense just kind of comes in and out. It's never really consistent, right? So Tobias Harris is a big key here, and especially when he's had his kind of playoff struggles in his past before, would be nice to see him have one good series, especially for a Pistons team that's had a really good season. You want to end it on an exclamation point, on a high note, and what better way would it be than to reach the second round? It would be magical. but you need a guy like a Tobias Harris to step up to do that. For the Milwaukee Bucks, my X factor I have for them is Kevin Porter Jr., I guess. With no Damian Lillard, they need somebody to score on the perimeter. Dame was just about their only perimeter scorer before he went down. Now that he is down, there's just nothing. Kevin Porter Jr. the last few games has been really good, though. And he's helped propel them to some wins, right? If he can do that in the playoffs, there's a chance that they make it to a second-round matchup, right? But if it's just Giannis hooping by himself, it's going to be a really hard road for them to go anywhere. As much as I love Giannis, he's damn near by himself right now. Kuzma's not great. Brook Lopez, how long can you rely on Brook Lopez to be good? You know, I love Brook Lopez for what he is, but I don't think he's winning a playoff series like that really anymore. Not at this day and age. So where does that scoring load fall? Well, on Giannis, he's going to have to average like 40. It's going to have to be a miracle run for him in the Bucks to do anything. But Kevin Porter Jr. would be a big help because he can pass the ball. He can get a 10-assist game. He can have a 25-point scoring night, right? He can do a lot of these things. It's just never been consistent for KPJ. But if he can put together 5 straight games of being good, it would get the Bucks to the second round, I'd assume. Kevin Porter Jr. being your X factor is not ideal for a team with championship aspirations, but again, with no Dame Lillard, you're kind of trapped with what you have right now, and there's nobody really better on the perimeter as an outside scorer on their team than Kevin Porter Jr. So it's just got to be him, because the X factor can't be Giannis, bro. We know what he's going to do. It could be Brook Lopez, but I don't know. I don't want to put a ton of pressure and say he's the X factor on Brook Lopez. He's like 40. All right, I don't want to put that type of thing on him. The X factor for the Indiana Pacers is pretty simple. I thought I was going to put Miles Turner at first. He's had a pretty good season. He's shooting almost 40% from 3. But the clear and obvious one is Tyrese Halliburton. When Tyrese Halliburton scores 20 or more points, the Indiana Pacers are 24-3. If you up that point total to 25 points, the Indiana Pacers are 15-1. 15-1 when Reese scores 25 or more points. Again, it's all about aggression for Tyrese Halliburton. We know you're the best passer in basketball, or at least one of the top 3 for Christ's sake. We know you can get 20 assists. We know you can get, 15 assists in a game. But your team is playing at its best when you are scoring the ball. You're the best player on the team, and it's not really even close right now. You need to be aggressive. You need to be a bucket. You need to force the issue at times on offense. He's just not a guy that has done that in his career. He's not a force the offense type of guy, but he's going to need to in the playoffs. And it's shown that, like I said, the stats and the record backs it up. When he can score 20 or more points, it's really hard to beat this team. But if Tyrese is scoring in the teens, it becomes a little bit easier. They need a go-to guy on offense, and sometimes it can't be Pascal Siakam. Sometimes it really does just have to be their best player, Tyrese Halliburton. This playoff run for the Pacers, in my opinion, really all boils down to Tyrese Halliburton's aggression. Where is his aggression level? Is he trying to score? Is he looking to score every time he gets the ball? Again, we know, I've said it, but we know you can get 15 assists. But your team needs you to be aggressive. It's shown time and time again this season. For the New York Knicks, I have their bench. Honestly, once Cat subs out of the game, it hasn't been pretty all season. Precious Achiuwa has been not good. Mitch Robinson, ever since he's come back, he struggles in the pick and roll. His foot speed isn't quite there. Tatum was looking at him like barbecue chicken for a lot of that game against Boston the other night. And that's not Mitchell Robinson's fault when he's caught on an island with Jason Tatum. I mean, that was hard for Mikal Bridges to do, and he's like their second best perimeter defender behind OG. It was even hard for OG to do. He got bust on the freaking game-tying shot that sent it to OT. But when Cat is out of the game, their lineups are really bad. There's like one net positive lineup when Karl-Anthony Towns is out of the game, and I think it has Jericho Sims in it. Jericho Sims isn't here anymore. So where does that leave you? Precious, Mitch. One of them's got to be really good. As much as I like and I respect Jalen Brunson and I respect this Knicks team, when Karl-Anthony Towns is out of the game, it's hard to respect them at times because Mitch and Precious have just been awful for a lot of this season. And I was the one pounding the table saying when Mitchell Robinson comes back, that's like the final infinity stone for this Knicks team. He hasn't really been that this year. And then Precious Achiuwa has just been like below replacement level bad. Cat is having an incredible season, and as much as Tom Thibodeau would love to play Karl-Anthony Towns 48 minutes every night in the playoffs, it's just not sustainable. He's going to need to take a breather, especially with how big he is. That's not me calling him fat. That's just me saying 7-footer who weighs 200 and something pounds is going to need a breather every once in a while. That feels obvious. So yeah, that would boil down to Precious and Mitch being able to hold their own. They don't have to blow out the opposing team's bench. They just have to be able to be playable. In the Knicks matchups against the Celtics this season, Luke Kornet has torn apart the Knicks backup bigs. If that doesn't show you a bad omen, I don't know what will, when Luke Kornet is tearing your team apart. You know what I mean? Speaking of the Boston Celtics, they are the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Their X factor, in my opinion, is Jaylen Brown. I know Jaylen Brown on an individual basis is an amazing basketball player, and he could make an All-NBA team. I'm not sure if he will. He's had a lot of inefficiencies this season, but that's not even really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is his knee issue. Jaylen Brown, like a week ago, maybe 2, was diagnosed with a bone bruise on his knee and an impingement, I believe. And ever since then, he has not been moving very well. He's had one really good game since then. And I salute any NBA player trying to fight through the pain like that. It's really hard, we get it. Your job is to be 100% every day, and it's not always possible. So I appreciate when a guy tries to fight through the pain. But the other night against the Knicks, Jaylen Brown was out there moving like 2019 Kendrick Perkins. He was out there moving like 2016 Big Baby Davis, right? He was slow. And you could tell he was laboring to the point where he sat like basically the whole fourth quarter. All right, he wants to hit that 65 game mark so that way he can be up for all NBA and stuff like that. But at what point do you just sit him and tell him, yo, we can't keep risking the long-term play here just so that way you can reach the 65 game mark? As much as I want him to make an all-NBA team and it would be great for his career and, you know, his accolades and everything like that, we know he's a warrior, but you got to sit down every once in a while. Kristaps Porzingis even said that in an interview, I believe, after the Knicks game. We appreciate Jaylen Brown and that warrior mentality he brings, but at what point do you just sit down and realize there's a greater goal, and that's winning another NBA Finals? Jaylen Brown's not 100%. I'm not sure how far the Celtics team goes. I'm sure they could probably make another Finals. It'd be tougher to beat Cleveland, don't get me wrong. But without a Jaylen Brown, I don't know where this Celtics team ends up because he was the Finals MVP last year. Jaylen Brown has those series, you know, at least once a year, it feels like, where he just pops and just blows up, you know, averaging, 29, 30 a game in a playoff series, it feels like. We all know how good Jaylen Brown is, but again, like I keep saying and keep harping on, it all comes down to his health. If the guy can't run up and down the floor, what is he really good for? No offense. But that's the reality of the NBA in general. If you can't get up and down the floor and it looks like you're in pain, teams are going to go at you more. And so Jaylen Brown just needs to sit down the rest of the regular season. It's only like 2 games. Sit down, take some time, and just heal. Be better. Realize it's about winning back-to-back finals, not about making All-NBA third team. And that leaves us with one team in the East, that is the Cleveland Cavaliers. My X factor for the Cleveland Cavaliers is Jarrett Allen. I know that might sound weird, but this season, offensively, we've seen jumps from Evan Mobley. We've seen jumps from Darius Garland. We've seen jumps from Ty Jerome. We've seen a lot of guys get better this season. But Jarrett Allen is the one guy who I consistently say could have better numbers if he played on a different team, obviously. But also, he needs to get the ball and he needs to score to be more engaged. If you look at some of the box scores from their 4-game skid that they had last month, it was only 4 games. It's not that big of a deal. And then they turned around and they kind of steadied the ship well again. But if you look at the numbers from those games, in the first game of the losing streak, he had 20 and 12 against Orlando, which that's good. 20 and 12 is a very good game, don't get me wrong. However, in the next 2 games, he had 8 points, 8 rebounds, 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 6.6 rebounds. That's not good enough. And yeah, the losing streak could also fall on Donovan Mitchell because Donovan Mitchell was struggling during that stretch as well. However, in the greater grand scheme of things, Jarrett Allen needs to be more involved. He needs to be able to get the ball and be comfortable with the ball. By the way, the Cleveland Cavaliers are 14-1 when Jarrett Allen scores 20 or more points this season. 14-1. Feed your big guy. It helps keep him more engaged on the defensive end. It helps keep him more aggressive. If he knows he can go out there and score, he's going to be way more aggressive. And especially for a guy like Jarrett Allen, who has the infamous, maybe the best quote in basketball history, "The lights were brighter than I expected." And honestly, he's going into the playoff series again. He looked pretty good last year in the playoffs, all things considered, but I think he just needs to get the ball more. He needs to be better. He needs to put up bigger games. Bounce over to the Western Conference now. We will start at the 8th seed, who is the Minnesota Timberwolves. My X factor for the Minnesota Timberwolves is Julius Randle. Now, I've seen some people say things like Naz Reid or Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert makes a lot of sense. He's been played off the floor in the playoffs before. However, Rudy Gobert, you know what you're going to get out of him. He's consistent. If you play Rudy Gobert 30 minutes, you're probably going to get like 10 and 10, right? Or more rebounds and like 2 blocks, right? Naz Reid gets buckets, and we know that. He's a 6th Man of the Year candidate every year for a reason, right? Well, Julius Randle needs to be just as consistent as an Anthony Edwards type. Not as good as Anthony Edwards. I don't want him averaging 30 a game. That's unreasonable. But can he get 20 a game on decent efficiency? When Julius Randle scores 25 or more points in a game, the Timberwolves are 10-1. It unlocks so much of the game when Julius Randle's able to hit his shots because he's a guy who's a big body language guy. And when things are going well for him, you can tell things are going well for Julius Randle. But when things are going bad, you'll be able to tell pretty quickly. It just opens up their offense more because when Julius Randle's getting left wide open in the corner because teams know he can't hit 3, guess what? It makes the offense a lot harder for a guy like Anthony Edwards to create, right? And on top of that, Julius Randle's a good passer too for a guy his size. He can pass a little bit, and that means he needs to have the ball more. He needs to be more engaged in the offense. Julius Randle's a big key to this team, and especially when he's another guy with his playoff, how do I describe it? Playoff struggles, plain and simple. Julius Randle doesn't exactly have the greatest playoff track record I've ever seen. It's actually really bad. So it would be nice to have him get 1 to 2 playoff series this year where he shows that he can play in the playoffs and he does strive in the big situations and stuff. So it would just be nice to see, but it would also help the Minnesota Timberwolves if he was just good in the playoffs. 7th seed is the Golden State Warriors. My X factor for the Golden State Warriors is Draymond Green. Some people may say like Brandon Podziemski, and that makes sense because Jimmy Butler has helped unlock Brandon Podziemski and get him to play his best basketball of this season so far. But I chose Draymond Green simply for the reason that he is the glue and the connector. All right, he's the defensive connector where he controls how the defense plays on a night-to-night basis for Golden State. Plus, on the offensive end, he's their best screener. He's probably their best passer too, right? And while Jimmy and Curry can handle that offensive load, when Draymond Green's not there defensively, everything just looks off and way different. And it all boils down to Draymond Green's mentality. And can he keep himself in the game in all reality? Can Draymond calm himself down? We saw against the Houston Rockets, people point at Curry's struggles. Understandably so, he was awful. But Draymond was out there challenging refs, telling them to call fouls on him. How bright is that? It's pretty stupid, in my opinion. You're putting your team at a bigger risk. You're getting your team in the bonus faster. You're just outright putting players at the free throw line more. And then let's say he does get ejected. There's a technical free throw. That's free points. He's giving away free points when he does this stupid stuff. Jimmy's going to be Jimmy. Curry's going to be Curry. Draymond just needs to keep a level head going into the playoffs and just stay on the court, right? He's an elite defender. He's a great screener. He's a great passer. He is what he is. We know who Draymond Green is. But the thing that we can never, actually figure out is what Draymond Green are we getting on a day-to-day basis in terms of mentality. Draymond's an insane asylum, and I feel like we've known that for about a decade now, but it's all about can he control it in the playoffs, because if he's out there just hacking and fouling everybody, 5 minutes and 5 fouls, like, bro, you're giving away free points. And on top of that, you're taking yourself out of the game. He needs to stay level-headed and just remember he has Curry and Jimmy on his damn team. Let them do the talking. Up next, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. Their X factor to me is Ja Morant, simply because of health. Can he stay on the floor? He's played 48 games this year, and they've been pretty good. I mean, consistency hasn't really been there for him. He is shooting like 31% from 3. However, when he's on the court, he's really good. He had a game winner just the other day. Ja Morant has all the talent in the world, but can he stay on the floor? And the reason it's so surface level for them as well is because there's just nothing, like they're playing on house money. They're another house money team. There's no expectations here. They fired Taylor Jenkins like 2 weeks ago about now, and it hasn't really, you know what I mean? They've been fine since then. They've got on a little roll. But I still don't think anybody thinks, what is it, Isalo or whatever, I don't think anyone believes that he's going to take those guys to a championship or anything like that, especially with Ja missing the amount of time he has and, you know, the roster not being quite right for a championship run. It would be nice to see them go on a nice playoff run, but I think it all starts with if Ja Morant can stay on the floor. And it's a house money run because, like I said, Taylor Jenkins got fired 2 weeks ago. That doesn't happen very often until we talk about, like, the team two seeds away. But yeah, when you're playing on house money, bro, just have some fun. And that's what I think the Grizzlies should come into this playoff series, or playoffs, just thinking of. Just have some fun, get some experience on you, and if you win, you win. If you don't, oh well, dude. You go into the next season, you have a new coaching staff, and everything flips over and everything changes. You turn a new page, and it's a new season. The Los Angeles Clippers X Factor is the same X Factor it has been for 5 years now. It's can Kawhi Leonard stay healthy for an entire playoff run? It's been a pressing issue with the Clippers for every year he's been a Clipper. And it's very depressing for somebody like me, who is a very big Kawhi Leonard fan, and I'm a very big Kawhi Leonard believer. James Harden has had his playoff struggles, so the X Factor could be him, but their star is Kawhi Leonard, and I think this team can go as far as Kawhi Leonard can take them. This team is built stacked defensively. Chris Dunn, Derek Jones, Zubats has been really, really good recently. I'm happy for Zoo, right? This team is set up to be really good defensively. Nick Batum, Amir Coffey. But if Kawhi Leonard isn't there, it doesn't matter how good they are defensively. If he is there, this team can cause some havoc in the playoffs. They have a good coach in Ty Lue. I know no NBA fandom likes their coach. That's just a fact. No fandom is a consensus. We love our coach. That just doesn't exist. But Ty Lue's a good coach. James Harden can have respectable games in the playoffs, as long as they rely on their defense to keep them in it. This is a hard team to knock out, even if James Harden is struggling. But it only goes as far as Kawhi Leonard can take them. Kawhi Leonard is the star of the show. He's the best player on the team. He needs to be there. Literally just needs to be there. It hasn't happened in a while. And it would honestly make me very happy just to see. As an NBA fan in general, I would love to see healthy Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs. But again, we've been saying it for the latter half of 5 years now. Who knows what we're going to get. Speaking of house money, at number 4, we have the Denver Nuggets. They just fired everyone like 2 days ago, 3 days ago at the time of recording or whatever. And so they're not really playing for anything much this year. They say they're hoping to win a championship. I don't know about that one, champ. My X factor for them is Jamal Murray. He's missed the last few games with an injury, and I don't know when he's going to come back. I don't know how healthy he's going to be when he does come back. If Jamal Murray missed the playoffs, it could completely end the Nuggets season prematurely. He's their second best player. Makes sense. And he's also their tough shot maker with Jokic. Well, Jokic can make some tough shots, but if you need a 3-up, you might give it to Jokic. I don't know. There's so many players on the Denver Nuggets I could call an X factor, like Michael Porter Jr. If Michael Porter Jr. can knock down his threes, that makes them way more dangerous. But if we're getting like March Michael Porter Jr., where he's struggling from 3 and he's still not playing great defense, well, then we're in trouble. It could be somebody like Jalen Pickett, who had a great game last night as I record against Sacramento. He looked terrific last night. It could be Russell Westbrook, a guy off the bench. If he could have a great playoff series, he could take you places. Literally anybody on this Nuggets team feels like they could be an X factor, but I chose Jamal Murray just because of the injury and the fact that he's their second best player. He's their second most important player, I'd argue, as well, along with probably Aaron Gordon's up there as well. But either way, I think that their defense is going to struggle regardless, so you need to be able to score the ball, and Jamal Murray will definitely help you score the ball. But again, as I said before, the Nuggets are practically playing with house money anyways, so it just is what it is. To me, the Los Angeles Lakers X factor is their defense. LeBron and Luka. That covers about everything you need offensively. They're going to get doubled a lot, and it's going to create a lot of opportunities for a guy like Austin Reeves, who could be their X factor as well. But Austin Reeves has been super good anyways, so I'm not really going to call him an X factor when he's been consistently good. I'm just going to call the defense the X factor. Well, right now, the Lakers are 11-24 when the opposing team scores a buck 15 or more. So basically, when their defense doesn't show up, they're screwed. And for a lot of teams, that feels like the case as well. But for this Lakers team, it's especially true because they aren't necessarily the highest scoring team ever. And they don't make a ton of threes either, so they don't really close the gap very well. So it really comes down to, can they defend? Can Luka stay in front of his man? The Dallas Mavericks, I know the Lakers aren't the Mavericks, but the Mavericks looked really good last year in the playoffs when Luka was guarding up. Then they go to the finals, and Luka struggled to guard against the Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. And all of a sudden, they're getting eaten alive. LeBron's another one where his defensive impact, he'll either be on his toes defensively, or he'll be falling asleep defensively. LeBron is a complete pendulum, probably because he's 40 and aging. It's hard to keep up that intensity level, but LeBron's up and down defensively, Luka's up and down defensively, and Austin Reaves has never been good defensively in my eyes. So it really makes you wonder, can they defend well enough to get to the next round or get to a finals? And I think they can. That's the actual key for them to make a finals run, is that they need to defend. They need to be really good defensively. They built their 2020 team on being really good defensively. I know this ain't the 2020 team, but this team still needs to have some damn pride on the defensive end and be able to clamp up and get a stop when need be, especially if they bump into an OKC, especially if they bump into one of them offensive juggernauts like a Denver. You need to be able to get stops. So while yes, Austin Reaves is an X factor, I don't think he is the biggest X factor. I think it's the defense, because you have a lot of guys on that team that aren't really that good of defenders, like a Luka, like a LeBron, like an Austin Reaves. So you need to be able to get a stop. For the Houston Rockets, I could put Jalen Green, because they're like 20-1 or whatever when he scores 30 or more. What's that record on that? The Rockets are 13-1 when Jalen Green scores 30 or more points. That's elite. But I'm taking Jabari Smith Jr. Why? Because the Rockets are 16-2 when Jabari Smith Jr. scores 15 or more points. It's not a very big benchmark, 15 points, but it is significant. At the beginning of the season, I was kind of hating on people who were saying that the Rockets didn't need Jabari Smith. I saw a lot of Rockets fans saying they were disappointed in Jabari Smith, and the whole time I'm thinking to myself, what do y'all expect? Not ball dominant. He doesn't get the ball often enough really at all. But when he does score, he looks to score in bunches. He's aggressive. He plays really good defense, and he can knock down a three. I mean, this is damn near the dream power forward in the modern NBA. He's basically Diet Evan Mobley. But when he has it going and when he can score the ball, it adds another facet to this team that they don't have when he can't score. When it's just Jalen and Freddie and Şengün trying to go get it, it's a lot different than when Jabari has 15 or 18 or something like that. And he's taken a couple of steps this season to get better scoring, but I still don't think he gets the touches to be a consistent, really good scorer. But as I told you, 16-2 when he scores 15 or more points. That's really good. I don't think correlation equals causation or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a 1 + 1 = 2 type of thing there, but I do think Jabari Smith being good and having a good playoff series can take this Houston Rockets team very far. And I have some expectations for them. It's not high, but I do want them to make the second round. I do want them to, get their feet wet in this playoff scenario stuff, and I do want to see some really good games from them. But for me, how far the Houston Rockets go comes down to how good can your supporting cast be, because Jalen Green is very in and out offensively. Şengün is good offensively, but I don't think he's not the carrying type of good. He's not going to carry the team. And then Freddie's also in and out just like Jalen Green is. You need somebody to step up and be consistent, and I hope it could be Jabari Smith Jr. He's one of my favorite players on the team. I have some moderately high hopes for him, but if he can give me a good playoff series, it would be really nice to see. Now it leaves the 1-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. They don't have many X factors just because, their best player is Shai. I mean, he's going to get you 35 freaking points, whether you, I, or anybody else likes it. So I went and did some research on this one. This was the first one where I really had to, think about it. Who could this be? And I looked it up, and some OKC blogs said stuff like Aaron Wiggins. I could see that. You need a second ball. You need another creator behind Shai, because when Shai's off the court, the offense really isn't as good. Aaron Wiggins has been really good this year. He's averaging 13 a game. It feels like he's shooting 40% from three. He is so good at what he does. But for me, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder's X factor as two guys. It's Dort and Caruso. While Aaron Wiggins makes a ton of sense, don't get me wrong, I have Dort and Caruso for a simple fact that if Dort and Caruso can't buy a three in a playoff series, how many defenders are going to be sent at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Probably a lot. And it all comes down to, can those two make their open shots? They're going to get open looks. Teams are going to try and trap and double Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because of how dangerous he is with the ball. It just comes down to, can Dort and Caruso make those corner threes? And in my opinion, if Dort and Caruso have a playoff series where they shoot 25% from three, that could send the Thunder home prematurely. It could also come down to a Chet Holmgren. How aggressive is he going to be in the playoffs, especially when J-Dub is their second option, quote unquote. So how aggressive and how much are you expecting from Chet Holmgren? I don't know. But I do know that Dort and Caruso play a lot of minutes, and they're elite defensively. But if you're elite defensively and you can't do anything offensively, it damn near buckles the team, and it makes your purpose on the court kind of null. So you get what I mean? When Dort and Caruso are on, I think it helps the Thunder offense kind of unlock itself, because Shai's able to go one-on-one because, well, you can't leave Caruso wide open. He's got 3 threes. You can't leave Dort open. He's got 3 threes. So what do? You know, you kind of have to play Shai one-on-one because you don't want to give up wide open threes. But if they're shooting 0 for 5 and 0 for 3 from 3, it becomes a little bit easier to say, all right, we're going to send 2 at Shai. You know what I mean? Pretty straightforward. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, tell me your team's X Factor, like I said before, if I got it wrong. Or just tell me, you know, maybe you even say, hey, I really like your idea for the X Factor for such and such team. Thank you for engaging. I hit 50 subs the other day, made me very happy. Trying to hit 100 before my birthday, which is in July, so that would help a lot. It's not realistic, but it could be if you help me. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to go catch the game. I'll see you guys in the next one.